Thank you, Manka. And we must say, we definitely need more women like us to empower us. A professional woman, mom, running out there, making a difference in people's lives and getting people involved. That's what we really need. So thank you so much, Manka, for your beautiful words. Thank you again. Our next program, we have a very special award, Bhagat Singh Thind Community Empowerment Award. I would like to call upon stage Gunveer Singh Baveja, local businessman, entrepreneur. And Mr. Kavneet Singh, a current member and an incoming chair to the board in 2018 onwards. Khalsa Aid is an international humanitarian aid organization based in Slough, UK. Ravi's passion to serve and vision to create positive change has seen him lead from the front line in areas of humanitarian crisis for over 18 years. Whether it has been in response to man-made conflicts or natural disasters, Ravi has launched aid missions in over 25 countries and helped establish networks with local NGO programs. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together again for Mr. Ravi Singh.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. First of all, thanks to the organizers, thanks to the Saldef team who are looking after me, Gujari here, I think, and all the Pais here actually. So it's been really a very warm welcome, and it is tiring running around. Well, 1 minute you're in the Middle East, next you're here, next you're in Europe, and then North America. I've known Saldef for a while. I met some of the older gang, and I think Saldef are the pioneers in the US for the Sikh rights and political rights and raising the voices. And its problem is pioneering groups is like Khalsa Aid. Initially, we do so much work, but we're not very good on social media. Somebody does very little work, gets all the social media. So if today if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Twitter today, you could hashtag, I am at the Saldef Gala Dinner 2017, and that helps them promote the organization. It's not just about funding, it's about raising awareness and helping the organization to take it to another audience, hence why I've been tweeting as well. So hashtag Saldef, share the posts, help on social media. These guys need funds, they need publicity, they need your support in all front. So I for myself think Saldef is doing a great job, and I hope you do contribute so that there is someone out there right now feeling, what do? I feel helpless, who can I turn to? And they know who they can turn to, and I do believe they have a great team. So with Khalsa Aid, I'm just going to share a short story. I'm keeping it about 5-6 minutes to talk. Time is short. We are what we are today because of what the Sikh gurus taught. You don't have to be religious to be a humanitarian. You don't have to be God-fearing person to help a fellow human being. You could be an atheist because humanity does unite us. I've been working. I have two things close to my heart. People who I don't really know here who want to know what Ravi Singh's close to heart. One is the Yazidi women held hostage by ISIS in 2014. That community is very close to my heart. The second is what the Sikhs have gone through in Punjab and Delhi after 1984, how our own community doesn't want to talk about that, the mass murder of the Sikh youth and the injustices, which seems to we seem to be shy of those topics because sometimes we are fearing talking about human rights. We fear taking that step. Like today, I'm so glad by Manjeet Singh, we're talking about what we're going through in this country at the moment, the divisiveness, the politics of divisiveness, the hate. We need to speak up. Just about some of our work, why the Yazidi community is close to me. About 4 months ago, I think, in the summer, I went to Iraq, as we do every other month or every month, our team. And this time, I was taken by Susan, our coordinator, to a building, what they called unfinished buildings that left unfinished after the war against ISIS 2014. And it was housing about 4 or 5 Yazidi women, some of their children. There's one particularly Yazidi woman, we had 2 children, and I looked at the photo on the back of her phone. She had a photo of the other 2 children and her husband who are still held by ISIS. So we put her on support. Susan, the coordinator, said, Ravi, we need to put these people on support for food. They're really desperate, they have nothing. So a week later, I got a call about 2 o'clock in the morning in the UK, which is late, even later there in Iraq. And our coordinator, young girl Susan, very upset on the phone. And I've been thinking all evening. She goes, can I talk? This is, imagine, 2 in the morning in UK. I said, yeah, sure, talk, what's up? She deals with everything in the forefront. I have all the time in the world for her. She said, remember that woman we went to see last week? I said, yes, everything okay? I thought maybe the kids have been found. She goes, no, I just want to tell you, when I went back today, she told her the day we approached her, that was a week earlier, to put her on food support, was the day she was going to kill her children herself. It makes me upset, even now, because they had no food. We are so engrossed in bombing the hell out of the countries, we don't look after the people caught in between. And that's a fact. Suddenly we spend $3 billion or pounds on bombing, on military, but when we do a £5 million food drop, we say, wow, look, our country's done this. It's nothing. This woman was going to kill herself because others have done it. That upset me. That made me happy too that we done something. So I keep that picture close to me of these kids. Yesterday morning, UK time, as I boarded the flight from London, I got a message that the woman's other 2 kids, this is typical now because ISIS has been defeated. We're working about 30 kilometers from ISIS Mosul positions. Now they've been defeated. The 2 children have been found. No, wait. They've been found. This is typical of ISIS, but they've been sold to a Turkish family as slaves. So it's $2,000 for a blood test, which the Kurdish government requires for them to do the test in Turkey with the lawyer, and that blood test will say, okay, these are the children for this lady, then the Kurdish woman can claim the children. $2,000 is nothing for these children, absolutely nothing. So I've asked one of our guys to sort our flight to Turkey, meet the lawyers, make sure it's genuine. Iraq team comes to join us in Turkey, pay the $2,000, do the blood test, and I hope every one of you guys prays they come together in the next few days, but they might not, because this is not just 2 children, this is ongoing. This is so many children. Yazidi community is a 7,000-year-old religion, pre-Islam, pre-Christianity, pre-almost all religions have gone through hell. Nobody wants to talk about them. So this award today, I dedicate to those women who were held as slaves by ISIS, who went through hell, who the world has forgotten. The work of Khalsa Aid is about love, is about humanity. And we're here today because we are driven by humanity. We do not hate any faith. I say this again and again. Do not fall into the trap of hating any faith. Our 9th Guru gave his life defending the right of religion, right of freedom, right of speech. Who are we to hate any faith? I'm a humanitarian. I work in the front line. In most cases, in one of the most dodgiest places, most dangerous places, where checkpoints are dangerous, something could go off any time. I don't hate any religion, and nor should we together, no matter where we're from. Like we all saying on stage, like this lovely lady said, like Jagmeet Singh said, answer hate with love. I've been doing this for 18, 19 years, and I'd never regret the moment when I approach anybody in the camp, because this identity we've been given is like the same as every Sikh Gurdwara, the Sikh temple. If any of our dignitaries have gone to the Sikh temple, there's a flag. The flag is a symbol saying, this is hope. You find hope here. Hope for everything. So this identity for us is hope. ISIS, Al-Qaeda, they have hijacked our identity. But doesn't mean we sit down. We've got to be twice as fast, twice as quick to react to disasters, to go out there and counter hate with love. So I hope one of you guys from this room will volunteer with us to see in the Kurdish areas what we're doing for yourselves and meet this woman and many other women like her. So I'm just a normal human being behind the lines. When I come home, you know, like today, you've got to have a lot of humor as well. So my wife phones me, make sure your shirt's not hanging out, make sure your collar's not bent, make sure your buttons are done. Because I don't wear suits. I really hate wearing suits. I wear t-shirts, I wear jeans or cargo pants, and suits is not for me. It's like I feel like I've been in prison. But like my mom says, you're going to look like this if you don't, you've got to wear a suit. People are going to send me a picture. My son was looking like this. Even though now I'm almost 50, I don't look about 90 with my beard, and my wife gets called as she's my daughter. But the thing is, it happens all the time. Oh yeah, lovely to see you with your daughter. I said, yep, we marry your daughters. It's a new Sikh faith. So she's only a year younger than me. And when I got ill, the doctor said, don't worry, we'll look after your father. I said, huh? So, but you know, it comes with the field, the territory, the white beard. I mean, you see so much bad stuff. You see heartbreaking stuff. You see women whose kids have been killed by ISIS, poisoned. But you do the work, you have to have humor because you need to lift those people around you as well. So in the camps, I think recently we put Bob Marley on. We were all singing along to Bob Marley. It was like a weird thing going around, like just to have a little oomph for the pick me up sort of thing. So we're a humorous community. We're a generous community. We're a community driven by humanity. But we just need to take a step back. Like Saldef's doing the rights here. The whole world's waiting out. Every refugee is a reflection of us. Like rightly yourself said, we were once refugees in 47, and sadly Sikhs are refugees in Delhi 84. So when you've been there, and you still hate refugees, you know, do you have a problem? You got to think, why are you hating? What is the need to hate someone you don't even know? You haven't walked in their shoes. You haven't been on their journey. So please, if you support the work of Carl Said, support people like Saldef, they're doing a great work. And I really sincerely hope you will hashtag Saldef, you share their post, and I love what they do. I honestly believe it. It's like, quickly, I know it's late, it's like mental health. In our community, nobody knows who to turn to for mental health. I'm dealing with my brother on a severe case. He's at the moment being sectioned, but we do not want to talk about it. And when it happens, we don't know who to turn to. So I hope Saldef will continue to grow. I hope they become stronger and stronger and be a pillar of support for the community in all issues, not just political rights, but mental health and other issues too, but we know who to turn to because we don't know what to do. We're in a dark area, especially in these issues that concern us in our community. So do not segregate, do not hate, be proud of whatever country you live in. It's a great country here. Just because you might get a few bad politicians, we never start hating the country or the people or the face. But we always stand up what's wrong, which is hate, tyranny. But please, when you go home tonight, just type in Yazidi community, Iraq, the slaves of ISIS. Just see what they go through. That's all I ask you. Because I want you to share what they've gone through. For me, it's important that you know about their struggles and appreciate what we have. Again, Saldef, Paisaf, thank you for the love. Thank you for everything. Thanks to every one of you guys for the warm welcome. We got Carl Said team here. We got Mansimran Singh, great, lovely red pug in the back there. He's been to Haiti several times. These two guys in the front, their hands up, been to Nepal and Haiti as well. So, you know, like you said, your volunteers make what the organization is, and Saldef have wonderful volunteers, and I thank you for the love, and I hope you keep growing and you keep getting stronger and, you know, flourish and help anybody who's suffering in injustices on political front or civil rights. Thank you very much. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
With all the amount of time that he puts in helping the world, he's worried if he went overtime tonight. Gosh, what could I even say to you? Ladies and gentlemen, I once again will ask you to please, don't let the looks fool you, but put your hands together for the young and dashing, handsome Mr. Ravi Singh. Please. Next, I would like to call upon stage our keynote speaker for tonight, Mr. Ash Singh, the founder and facilitator of Startup Course, is regarded as one of the most successful serial entrepreneurs in Southeast Asia. Having sold his first startup at age 22, he was named as one of Asia's top young entrepreneurs by Bloomberg Businessweek. He is currently a visiting professor of entrepreneurship in INSEAD Business School, ranked #1 business school by Financial Times, the Ivy Business School, and Tsinghua School in China. He was raised in Toronto and is a proud Canadian. His contributions to the Sikh community include creating SikhiWiki.org and Turbanizer app, which has helped thousands of Sikh kids become more confident in their turban. I ask you all to please put your hands together for our keynote speaker, Mr. Ash Singh.
Ravi Singh, congratulations. It's a tough act to follow, and I'm in between now and dinner, right? It's getting harder. I'll try to cover this off in the next 10 minutes. I think I have an interesting story to tell, but before I do that, I would like to acknowledge the Sikhs in the room. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa. Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. You know, I've given a couple of keynotes over the last couple of years, and you know, when I remind the audience, the Sikh audience, that they're Guru Gobind Singh Ji's children, the Fateh is a little bit louder. So let's try it one more time. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa. Thank you. So before I begin, would like to just acknowledge a couple of people in the crowd. My wife Simran, who's here. As they say, behind every successful man, there is a shocked woman. And I have been consistently shocking my wife for the last 10 years. So thank you for coming. My wife is Singaporean. Okay, she's from Singapore. And it's great to have her and my kids in the audience. Also my brother, who's in town, he's from Toronto. He is single, very single. He's full Sardar, and he just finished residency, so he is a doctor as well. So just wanted to acknowledge, he's sitting right there. You can wave if you'd like, you know. Allow me to begin my keynote. So just to kind of set the tone for what I do, I was born and raised in Thornhill, Ontario, which is a small Jewish community in Toronto. And coincidentally, Jagmeet Singh and I actually went to school together, right? So my sense of style is actually from him. He's still a little bit more stylish than I am, but I had some inspiration from him when I was in university. And I grew up in a lower middle class family, immigrant family, and I took the opportunity to go to Hong Kong on exchange, where I thought, hey, wouldn't it be interesting to compete in Asia? And when I was there, I started a software company, didn't really know what I was doing, and had the rare opportunity of selling this company when I was around 22 years old. And it was a very life-changing experience for me. I thought, you know, having money would be good. You know, I didn't have to worry about rent, didn't have to worry about, you know, food and all the other challenges that struggling university graduates have. And so I thought that would be cool, but it was actually a really dissatisfying experience for me. And I realized that God had given me a rare opportunity, and I wanted to see if I could find purpose in what I did. So I moved to Singapore. That's where the acquisition happened. And nobody knew who I was, and I thought, hey, let me see what I can do, right? Let me see if I could find purpose in what I'm doing. So that's where my story begins. When I was in university, I think we all know about what happened in 9/11, right? Just to kind of frame things up, there is some slides on the screens as well. So we all know what happened during 9/11. It was that big undeniable change that affected not only Sikhs in America, but Sikhs all over the world. We know about the confusion that was happening, confusing terrorists with people that wore turbans, right? And this is what I was going through as somebody that was traveling the world as a university student. And we all know about, being randomly checked at every airport, right? We all experienced that. I know a lot of people here, obviously you live here, but when we were coming through the US every single time, right? And so I thought to myself, is there something I could do, right? I'm not a politician. I'm not really that good at giving speeches either. But I wanted to see if there was something that I could do. And there's been some research, and I don't know if you guys know this, but in a recent study, 60% is the percentage of Americans who admit not knowing any Sikh, not knowing anything at all about Sikh Americans, compared to 76% who say they know something about Muslim Americans, and 86% who say they know something about a Jewish American, right? This is a very interesting, this is recent statistics, by the way, right? Has the camera guy got like a couple of shots, by the way? Can I put my glasses on? Okay, because you got my left side, because my left side's really good. You got it? Good? Need one more? You good? Good? Okay, thank you. I'm getting a little bit older now, right? So I need, so this was an interesting statistic for me. And this is stuff that this is recent information, right? I read another statistic that 11% is the percentage of Americans who have a close friend or an acquaintance who is a Sikh, while just 31% have seen or interacted with a Sikh person at all. Okay? Very interesting statistic. Again, a recent statistic. Another statistic. 11%, the percentage of Americans who associate the image of a turban Sikh, of a turban man as a Sikh, compared to 20% who assume he is Muslim, whilst 99% of turban wearers in the US are Sikh. Interesting statistic. Now what's interesting for me, because that only adds up to 30%, I started kind of chuckling because I was like, what do they think, the other 70%, what do they think we are? You know what I mean? I was just curious, and a couple of thoughts came to my mind. I won't address them right now. But the result of this, which is also very interesting for me, is 50% of Sikh children experience some form of bullying at schools. Okay? Now think about that for a second, right? Think about that as a community. If 50% of your community's kids, and usually it's boys, right, are experiencing some form of bullying, how is that going to impact you guys as a community 20 years down the line, right? The insecurity that happens with a boy, right? Now I can share this now. My son is sitting in the crowd. And the thing is it's not, I actually believe that there's not racism in America. I don't believe that. My statistics tell me that it's just people don't know. And if you don't know, you ask questions, right? And you might put the child in a situation where he might not feel comfortable. So my son here today was having breakfast and he was trying to get some bacon, and the lady turned to me and said, hey, can you help your daughter with the tongs? She thought he was a girl. This happens, guys. This is a real challenge that I think is being faced here. Now, my observation, because I live in Singapore and I've traveled a little bit, there are some unique things in America that you guys are facing right now. So I thought to myself, is there something that we could do to educate people, right? And this is when I was 23, 24 years old. So we came up with a concept. This is when Wikipedia was getting popular. I said, why don't I start a website called Sikhi Wiki, right? I don't know if you guys have seen this website. You won't find my name. It's like really at the bottom. I don't really talk much about it. But we decided to put some information together online and use digital as a way of educating people. And 12 years later, as of today, we get 40,000 people all over the world on the platform every day, right? And we've had over 100 million people come on the site and learn about Sikhs. A lot of these people are not Sikhs. They're learning about it. The other thing we decided to do is we said, hey, what if we promote the vision, the image of the turban? So I created a website called ratemyturban.com. This was back in 2005. Some of you guys might know about this website, where there was a website called Hot or Not, where people were posting photos of themselves and asking people to rate them if they're hot or not. I kind of did the same thing with Sardars. I just put photos, and believe it or not, it took off. Yahoo had named it one of the sites of the year, and we had over 2 million people from all over the world visit the site and get some exposure of what a Sikh looks like. But the reality is our original goal was we actually failed, right? We wanted to do something that had a little bit more impact and really started to change the paradigm, right? And so I was puzzling through this. So I'm sitting in Singapore, by the way, and I have a couple of my friends, and we don't get funding from people. We just create stuff ourselves and we self-fund it and see what happens, right? And so I went online and I was thinking, I was like, okay, I need some inspiration. And I came across this quote, which says, I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do and I understand. And then it got me thinking. I remember when I was young, and there was an experience where an uncle of mine came to my school and had a turban tying session for me and my friends. And I don't know if any of you guys have experienced this, done this for your children, but once the kids do that, it's amazing. You know, the other kids in the class are totally involved, and at the end of that experience, the kid who might be shy in the class suddenly becomes a hero. And they get it. They get that there's hair in here. They get that they wrap the head. They get the values. And it was a very powerful experience. So I asked myself, I said, okay, and I do apologize because in my line of work, financials are never a limit. I feel if I can think of something big, I will go out and do it, right? It's just the way I've been raised and just the way I think. So I thought to myself, what if I tied a turban on every American? Okay? So this is where I started off. I was like, okay, if I had to tie a turban for every American, there's 300 million Americans, 300 million, right? It would cost me around $5 a turban. That's $1.5 billion. We would need starch, right? Because the turbans need to look good. And then we need salayus as well, right? Because the hair needs to be, we have to make that happen. So I said, okay, I don't have $1.5 billion, but I was single at the time. I thought, hey, I could maybe marry rich, see if I could, get some money that way. That's one way of doing it. But then what happened was I realized that if I even tried to attempt this, after the people would wear the turban, they would probably take the turban and discard it in a disrespectful way. So I was like, okay, this isn't going to work, right? The idea is not viable, right? Not for the money, but because we cannot disrespect the turban. And then something interesting happened. there was this phenomena that picked up a couple of years ago on selfies, right? We all do selfies now. We all know how to hold the camera properly, so we look okay. You know, our necks are okay and our chins are okay. We've been practicing this selfie phenomenon, and I did a little bit of research on this, and I realized that there are 1 million selfies taken every single day, okay? And the average millennial is going to take roughly around 25,000 selfies throughout their lifetime, okay? Now, some of you are not millennials, right? So you might not, relate, but that's what they do, by the way. If you calculate that, I said, okay, 25,000 selfies. So I came up with this concept called turbanizer. And a lot of people were asking me, like, Ash, I want to see what I look like in a turban. And I remember when I used to show people, their face changed. And their face changed from a position of, not knowing about what the turban is to asking questions around, why do you wear a turban? Why do you wear a turban? Tell me about where the turban comes from. Tell me what the turban means to you. So we created this website. This was back in 2007. And in a year, we had 1 million people, right? And this is actually a screenshot of the website. And you can see, like, people were turbanizing themselves, their friends. Like, there was a streak where everyone wanted to turbanize their cat, okay? I don't know what happened, but it was good because people were coming on the site and at least seeing something, right? And there was some value in what was happening, right? And then obviously the iPhone came out. We developed that. We had 150,000 downloads of the Turbanizer app where people were downloading it and seeing what they look like in a turban. And this is with zero marketing, by the way. We just put it out there. And within 3 months, we were one of the top downloaded apps in the UK App Store, in the lifestyle section. I found out later that in the UK, because I was getting all my downloads at around 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, UK time. And I was very puzzled by this. I was like, why are people downloading and using my app at that hour? And I've realized, and maybe Ravi can relate to this, but when people are partying in the UK, I guess maybe when they're drunk, they want to see what they look like in a turban, right? But it worked. I got millions of downloads and people were asking questions and it was great, right? And if you go to the UK, and I encourage you all to do that, the feel that you get when you're there as a Sardar is different, right? I'm not saying it's because of my app, but I'll tell you just the feel that you get in countries like the UK, countries like Canada, countries like Singapore. I tell people, they ask, Ash, why Singapore? Of all the places you want to live, and I tell people that I think Singapore is one of the few places, it's the place in the world where Sikhs are celebrated the most. And I feel at home there. I'm a Canadian, right? I love all things Canadian, but I felt at home there. So we had this journey with the Turbanizer app. We did an Android version that took off. And we had over 1 million downloads and 25 million turbanized photos, right? And it sounds like a crazy number, but these are people that are now looking, trying to understand, and we're trying to recreate that, right? And the conversations are happening. And it sounds crazy, but we've had events all over the world, in Toronto, London, Singapore. This is a photo that I'm sharing right now with a minister in Singapore. Chinese minister came and he saw the Turbanizer app and he said, Ash, I want to tie a turban right now, okay? And he's the Minister of Education. And he said, Ash, we need to get this app installed in the schools and let people experience this, right? And a couple of other statistics I found. Number one was we surveyed people when we were doing it. And we found that 75% of the people were more comfortable talking to somebody with a turban, right? In addition, 90% wanted to find out more about the turban and about Sikhs and Sikh values, right? That's the key metric. We want people to start asking us. Now the challenge we have is, do we actually have the answer as Sikhs? When people come to you and ask you, why do you wear a turban, right? More often than not, we don't actually have the right answer to that, do we? Right? When somebody is, with my son, I find this all the time, when kids are asking questions, do you know what to say? And I realize as a community we don't. And it's important for us as we go through this journey, because I'm standing here in front of you guys after a 14-year journey, right? And I believe that Turbanizer and a lot of the other social media stuff that's happening with Ravi, that's happening with Jagmeet, you know, people are going to start asking you questions, right? Are you guys in the position to answer those questions? So what we've done now is, as part of the gala, and Saldef, thank you again for the invite, I've launched a new version of my app. And I hired a top-tier branding firm to come up with an idea of how to promote this app, because I really want to make this a success in the United States. So I came up with this concept. It's quite original. I know you guys might not have heard this before, but I thought to myself, what if we can make turbans great again, right? Now, I'm very lucky. I'm Canadian, and I'm getting on a flight tomorrow, right? So, but allow me to just quickly walk you through the app itself. So this is the app. We have some facial recognition that we have. This is a gentleman, Derek, who decided to use the app. And if you'll notice, he will close his eyes, and as he closes his eyes for 2 seconds, the turban will change. We have the malas from all over the world. They're pretty popular these days, right? And he is using the app right now. It's a very simple way to use it, very user-friendly. And then you can adjust the turban, change the turban. I teach in China. And one thing I learned about Chinese and Japanese people, they love our beards. They want to touch the beard, and so there's a beard mode in this too, okay? So if you have a Chinese friend, they love it. They love beards. So these are some of the statistics as well. So just to kind of give you some visibility on statistics, we have real-time statistics on how many people are being turbanized, which is a new word, today, this month, and this year alone we had around 800,000 people around the world that are experiencing a turban for the first time and starting to ask questions about Sikhs, Sikh values, and the lot. So, I'm going to conclude. My goal, the reason I'm here, is I want to turbanize 100 million people. Sounds like a crazy goal, but it's really not that hard. I don't think it's something that's too hard to achieve. I want to have more conversations, more understanding, and less random checks at airports. So this is a photo when I fly, and I flew yesterday. This gentleman is giving me a thumbs up because he got turbanized at the airport, right? So he likes the product. So what I want to be able to do, and part of my journey here, this is the first time I've had an opportunity to speak to an American audience, is for you to download the app. The app is free, right? Just give me a 5-star rating, please. Take a selfie with your friends. When you meet other people, take a selfie. And most importantly, and this is my challenge for the people in the crowd right now, is talk to them about Sikh values. And talk to them about American values and how they are similar. Okay? This is a very important thing. This is a conversation piece. So before you share it with them, talk to them, right? And don't be shy, right? As a community at times we find that we have these challenges where we don't want to put ourselves out there. But this is an opportunity for you to do that. So with that, I thank you for your time. Thank you, Saldef, for inviting me over. And look forward to seeing you guys soon. Thank you. I've always wanted to say this, by the way. You know how on speeches they say, God bless you and God bless America? I've always wanted to say that. But the applause came a little bit early. Thank you very much. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa. Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you so much, Ash, for sharing all that information with us. And we do hope you will check out his apps. They really are interesting. With that, I want to introduce our last speaker for tonight. He's a current member of Saldef and the new incoming chair for 2018 for Saldef. Gavneet Singh, he's a senior manager at Kaiser Permanente, where his responsibilities relate to performance management and strategy development. He has brought these skills to Saldef, advising on strategy, advising on Saldef's interactive curriculum, Sikhism 101 for law enforcement, assisting in training local, state, and federal law enforcement officials about awareness and protocol, and addressing audiences about Sikhism, the Sikh American community, civil rights, and diversity at regional and national forums. So you can imagine, just as a member, these are all the things he's doing along with his job. We're looking forward to what he's going to bring to us in 2018 as the next chair for Saldef. Please put your hands together for Mr. Gavneet Singh.
Guru Pyari Saad Sangat Ji, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you all for joining. I know I have the dream position of both closing a gala that's a little later than we thought it would be and separating you from dinner. I will try to remedy that as quickly as I can. Let me first thank the honorees and the guests that we had today. Sardar Ravi Singh, a hero to hopefully many of us, if not all of us. Excuse me. Manka Dhingra from Seattle. I've known Manka actually since I was a young kid. So the one thing beyond congratulations I have to say to you, Manka, is go Bears. Go Bears. Additionally, then, I want to thank Gurmeet Sordi, for leading us through tonight, and also handling with remarkable grace the minuscule tech issues that we had throughout the evening. So thank you, Gurmeet Benji, for that. I also want to thank all of you for coming today. It's been a few years since we've done the gala, and one thing that I love about coming back to DC is feeling as though I'm at home. Every time I come, seeing familiar faces, having folks to connect with that I haven't seen that regularly, whether it's Pradeep Uncle right back here, Sunny and Seema, whoever, my Veer from Fremont who is now here, Ravi Singh, Pavaraj Singh sitting back there. These folks who I've known, who I've grown up with, and who've been supportive of this organization for so long. I thank you all for making DC such a strong haven for us, making our organization strong. So please give yourselves a round of applause. I also want to recognize, actually, really quickly, a few people. Supreet Kaur here. Supreet, if you could stand up really quickly. So Supreet recently was named the first Sikh police officer with the Las Vegas Police Department. So let's give her a round of applause. Thanks, Supreet, for your leadership and your courage, and your service, most importantly. So part of my role, I guess, here is to talk about what do we want to do in 2018. So to come to that, I want to share really a couple quick stories. First is, I think you've heard the testimony of some of the Sikh lead youth. When we started this program in 2011, it very much was with the hope that it would survive a couple years and then we'd figure it out. And despite all of our best intentions, it superseded every single one of our hopes and dreams. That we have such a remarkable group of probably about 150 now, alums from a combination of both programs across the country, from huge Sikh metropolises like the DC area, Chicago, Detroit, all across California, to small areas, South Carolina, Utah, and Idaho. So seeing that these young folks want to lead, have learned from the mistakes maybe that generations in front of them have. I loved Ravi Virji's comments about that we need to be supportive of each other and of orgs and of the community. Regrettably, right, that's not in our DNA. When we see somebody doing well, or we see an organization, or we see some cause, we tend to want to find that flaw. I don't think this generation has that bamari that we have, and so I'm very thankful to them. And I look to them to take over and lead for us in the future. So with that, as we develop these leaders, this is where we need your support as well. How do we strengthen these programs? How do we make sure that we continue to give young folks the opportunities to lead? The next slide. How do we raise the voice of the community? So you heard my Veer Aman Singh speak earlier about Sikh vote. Well, in an off cycle, the amount of work that we did was pretty remarkable in such a short period of time, ramping up to the gubernatorial elections in both New Jersey and Virginia. But with a midterm coming up, and I think you all have heard that there was a pretty heated election in 2016. And so 2018 is shaping up to be even a remarkably more heated election. So how do we make sure that the voice of the community, the voice of all of us in this room, is heard? Aman mentioned that Asian Americans, of which 6 South Asians are part of, the piece he didn't mention was that we also want to have one of the lowest voter turnout rates and one of the lowest, if not the lowest, voter registration rates. So how do we work to make sure that our community actually has a voice and can make things happen? You heard from Congressman Raskin earlier. We're in his district. Both of the gurdwaras in Maryland reside within or border that district. Yet, how much do we work with him to make sure the issues that are important to our community are actually getting done? Similarly, across the country, we have regions like this, whether it's in the suburbs of Chicago, whether it's in Yuba City or Sacramento, California, whether it's in the Central Valley there in California, or even in small suburbs of Detroit, where the Sikh voice can actually change an election. That's part of our mission for 2018, to register and empower Sikhs across the country to make sure that our voice is heard across the country. I want to share a quick story about a woman, Santosh Kaur, here from actually in Virginia, who was one of the few people that we were able, or one of the people that we were able to touch this cycle. And Santosh Auntie had this remarkable piece of information she gave us, that she never knew she had to register to vote. She didn't realize that's something she had to do. And so it was only through the efforts of the Sikh Vote campaign, Satnam Singh here in the back, Jarnail Singh, through their efforts in gurdwaras across Virginia, that she found out she had to register to vote. And for the first time, she voted in this gubernatorial election. How amazing is that? This is what we were founded on. This principle of one voice, one vote. And yet, so many in our community don't understand that right. That's our mission for 18. Developing leaders and making sure that we do our part as residents and citizens of this country. Sorry. Then finally, shifting the perception. So this is a continuing work we've done over several years. And making sure that our neighbors understand who we are. And so I think Ash teed it up nicely here to talk about what are Sikh values. But in reality, we don't need to combine them with American values. We don't need to say, hey, this is how we are like you. It's actually showing them who we are. Guru Nanak Pasha never went around leading through, hey, this is what I am. Or, hey, you should watch what I'm doing. Or, excuse me, you should be like me. Guru Nanak Pasha led through love. Guru Nanak Pasha taught us that once people see who you are, and if you live that ideal of a Sikh, nothing else matters. There's no other work that has to be done. I learned that from one of my heroes, by Gurudarshan Singh, sitting in the back. And so, what do we do to make sure that people understand our values? Well, 4 years ago we worked with Comcast on launching this Sikh commercial, the PSA we call it. And so Over 4 years, Comcast has donated an astounding almost $6.5 million to us to air this commercial. Over 570,000 views, or excuse me, airings. So think about that. It's shown over 500,000 times on their network of channels to potentially thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people each time. All at no cost to the community. So what do we want to do with this now? Well, the next step is PSA 2.0. As I look out, I see my brother Navdeep Singh, who was pivotal in the development of this work, and who I will absolutely, by hook or by crook, rope him into 2.0. To begin to tell that story of, it's not just, yeah, you know, hey, well, 6 can be professionals, they can be cab drivers, they can be farmers, they can be entrepreneurs. Yeah, but what do we believe in? What do we stand for? And what do we stand against? That's what our tradition is, and that's how we have to live, and that's what we have to do with this next round of making sure our fellow Americans understand who we are. So with that comes the fun part of the evening, right? That these things cost money. I think one of the reasons Manjeet maybe wanted to announce that I'm the incoming chair today is so I could do the pitch for money and he didn't have to for once. But these programs, the impact that we see here is only because of the support we receive from you all in this room and from Sangats across the country. My good friend Floyd Morey is here from Apex. He's retiring, a former Saldef awardee. We give him a round of applause for his retirement. Floyd, I think, is this retirement number 4? Plus minus? Okay. I'm hoping to join you soon, one of these days. Through the work that we do, we can make remarkable impact. Yet people are always astonished to find out, wow, the budget of your organization is how much? And wait, you have how many staff that are full-time? Yet you manage to do such remarkable work. I'm excited to see former staff here, so Navdeep, Amrita Kaur, who's sitting in the back here. The dedication of the folks that we've had has been really out of this world. Yet, we still need to support those people. We need to make sure that they can earn a living doing the work that we all need them to do. While seva is great and one thing, that doesn't mean people should live miserly lives. That doesn't mean that the programs that we have don't need support. So you'll see, I'll leave this slide up here of kind of a program budget for what we have for 2018. We'll leave this slide up for a while during dinner, so you can reflect on that as you have the envelopes at your desk. And what we ask you is, you've heard a lot about the work that we've done. You've heard from some of the recipients of our Sick Lead program and from our distinguished guests. What I would ask you now is to reflect in Anansab every day. Guru Ramas Pasha tells us, "Eh sarira mereya, is jag mein aaye ke, kya tud karam kamaya." So what have we done? What have we come here for? It isn't just that, yeah, we've built these remarkable lives and we're successful, but it's what have we done for the community? What have we brought to that community that gave us so much? That's our goal. That's our dream as this organization, to give back to this community and to the heroes and sheroes that came before us. I mentioned Bhai Saab, Ravi Singh, a modern now shiro of Manka, and Supreet, demonstrating service and civic commitment. How do we build these next generation of leaders? How do we support them? And how do we move the community forward? That's our mission, and that's what hopefully you're here tonight to support. On behalf of the board, on behalf of the staff and the volunteers, I'm humbled and overwhelmed by your support and coming here tonight. As I mentioned, I think the second time ever we've sold out a day or two in advance of the gala. The layout of this room was actually remarkably different, and we had to rearrange that on the fly this morning because of the volume of support we had. So I'm humbled and thank you so much. We're honored to have you as guests and have you as support. And I thank you again so much for joining us tonight. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you, Kavneet, and we're looking forward to your leadership at Saldef 2018 onwards. And with that, I also want to let you all know, since you were all in here and didn't really have a chance to take a look at the silent auction outside, we're going to keep it open till after dinner also. So please do, when you go outside, take a look at it, put your bid on it. It's for a good cause. And also, we have a photo booth here with Sikh heroes photos that you can take. They're fun pictures, so the booth is still open. It's going to be open till about 9:45. So go out, take some memorable photos of what wonderful night this has been for all of you. And again, the credit cards, let me just remind you, and the checks, please don't forget them. It's your support that makes Saldef do what they do and make a difference in everyone's lives. So please do support them. And we also have, please bring your dinner and come back in. We also have live entertainment with you with Shami Kaur Simran and Harpreet Singh Thami. Shami Kaur is a versatile singer, performer, and a music teacher. And Harpreet Singh Thami is an up-and-coming Punjabi folk singer. They both will be here performing live for you. So please have your dinner, bring your dinner, come on in and enjoy the entertainment. With that, we thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.